Today on the podcast, we're talking romance, suspense, and writing. This is the Kansas City Podcast. Welcome to the Kansas City Podcast. I'm your host, Cole Lindberg. You know, many of you know me as the devil in disguise. And if not, it's nice to meet you. You know, each week here on the Kansas City Podcast, we are joined by a one-of-a-kind KC native for a conversation on life in the city of fountains. And I have once again found my way to another loud Starbucks, one of my favorite places to go record. And my guest has been very gracious. She waited around while we waited for a spot. It's Starbucks, you know how it is.
Of course, absolutely.
It's one of those things. But I'm very excited. I want to welcome today. She is an author. Is it romance genre? Romance.
That's the overall genre is romance.
The romance genre of authorship. She has the Dangerous series, which includes Dangerous After Dark.
Yes. And
Dangerous Calculations.
Yes.
And then she also is, she took a little break from that and she did a romantic comedy novel. My words.
Book is great.
Book called Disaster in Love, and I'm very excited to talk about her. She's an author, the romance genre. Please welcome to the podcast, Erin Thornton.
Thank you so much, Cole, for having me.
No, thank you for being on the show. Was that a good enough introduction for you?
That was fantastic.
All right, so I have a really kind of just broad, silly question just to begin with. Why romance? Romance novels, like when I think of romance novels, I have two different things that come to mind. The first thing is going to the grocery store, and then there's always the romance spot there, but next to the magazines.
Harlequins.
Yes, and it's got Fabio on the cover and things like that.
Well, Fabio would make you have a little bit of a list.
Yes, right, and so. I just have this really weird, there's another romance novel, it's like some damsel in distress and stuff. So tell me a little bit about how you got started writing and why romance became your go-to here.
Well, I read so many different books myself. Mm-hmm. Romance would be a bit of my go-to genre, but I don't read Harlequin. I absolutely hate those covers. Honestly.
They're kind of scary.
They're awful. Yeah. They honestly make me take me back to the 1980s.
Yeah.
And I look at it and go, I know that's a new novel. Why didn't they update that?
The long flowing hair.
Right?
And just...
I've never been a fan of a guy with long hair.
And the long flowing hair. And it's just kind of like, what year was that photo taken?
Right. And then if you look at it, the copyright's current.
Right.
And I'm like, wait a minute. So no, I don't read Harlequin romance, but romance is my getaway.
Okay.
And romance is a lot of people's getaway. You read a romance novel not because you want reality.
Yeah.
You want a little bit of that fantasy. You want a little bit of take me away.
Okay.
And so romance is that for me. Now, as you said, I have two different books series, whatever, out. And the Dangerous series is a romantic suspense.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of hovers that line a little bit. And It's a little darker.
Okay.
And so people who have read it, yes, it has its romantic side, but I've had guys read it because of the suspense side.
Okay.
But then because that series is so dark, I had to have something for sanity. So I broke out into the romantic comedy genre and just something to highlight me. I'm a very sarcastic person. I can't help it.
Okay.
So when I went for romance, there's so many options. I don't have to stick with one. And so romance gives me those options.
I understand. So how old... So your first book, Dangerous After Dark, how long ago was that you first put it out?
That one was published in June of 2017.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So we're coming up on a year almost. And you published 3 books since June?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
It's my release.
Yeah.
I'm a mom of 6 kids.
That's insane.
I need something for me.
Yes. you need your thing to do, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
I got lost.
Okay.
And everybody knew me as my kid's mom. I didn't have a first name anymore. I was either my husband's wife or my kid's mom. Oh, you're Preston's mom, or oh, you're Rosalie's mom. Yeah, I am. And there's no correcting that. You can't do anything about it. And
so you got to make a name for yourself.
I had to find me. This is me.
This is very exciting. Okay, so can you tell me a little bit, because I have been trying for the last 5 years to write a book. Okay. And it's been very difficult because I get in my own head and I start I start typing and stuff, and everything. And then I just go crazy. I type for like an hour straight, right? Which is great.
Right.
But then I go back and I start reading it and I start editing it and I get mad at myself because I'm like, wait, you changed your tone. You didn't say the right word there, and I get I just get angry.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about the process? Because you self-publish these, right?
I did. This is all me.
So do you start writing in the middle of the night? You have 6 kids. Where do you have the time to write? And how did you go about doing this? Because it's just, the process is just crazy to me.
So when I wrote my first book, it was just in a notebook. And that was me going back to the olden days, because we didn't really, I didn't have a laptop growing up. You grab a pen, you just write.
Right.
And so that's what I did. I just grabbed a pen and wrote, because one day I just said, yeah, I could write a book. Sure, why couldn't I?
Right.
And so I did. I grabbed a notebook. And so then it was just kind of wherever I was at, I had my notebook. I could be waiting for a kid at the bus stop, grabbing my notebook and I'm writing stuff down.
Oh, you're committed. You went all in. Yeah.
Just because it was something to do. If I didn't have a book to read, I had my notebook.
Okay.
I mean, I'm the person that has a book in her purse all the time. I have my e-reader all the time. If something is on my person that I could read a book. This was just kind of that same way. It was just always there. It was always available. I didn't have to pack my computer up because I just had my notebook.
Yeah.
And I'd write a few words here and there, and my kids would be watching TV, and I'd be sitting there writing down words. Well, it's gotten a little more challenging.
Yeah.
My youngest is now almost 4, and she needs a little bit more mommy because she thinks mommy's disappearing.
Yes.
And so now I write in between. She doesn't nap anymore. So I don't have that in between. I'll write when my husband gets home for a while, or I'll write after I've put all the kids to bed. But I have a level of commitment that I tell myself, okay, I would like to be able to get this many words down a day.
Yeah.
And then I'm good. I don't reread much.
Okay.
Until I'm done.
Okay.
So you were saying, you like to read and you get angry with yourself. Yeah. I don't reread much. I'll read back a little, a fewer paragraphs to pick up where I was at.
Yeah.
And then I just keep writing.
Okay.
I reread at the end.
Got it.
And I've also found that if I plug it into my e-reader and I push play and have it read to me.
Oh.
I don't hear tone in my head.
You don't hear your voice. You hear,
I hear it reading it.
Okay.
I'll hear errors. I don't read over errors. And I don't feel like I'm self-criticizing as much.
Okay, see, I never even thought of that. If somebody else was reading it to me, I think I might have a different appeal to it.
Absolutely.
I have the worst time of getting started, and then I don't want to stop. I don't want to stop. I want to keep going, get it all down.
You want to keep going because you got that
flow.
flow.
But then what ends up happening is I got to stop, and then I come back to it later, and that thread in my mind is just gone. I'm like, nope. Damn it, I've lost it. I can't. What was I going to say here? I had some really beautiful words put together, but now it's just uhs and ums.
I think that it also helps, too, that I make random notes. I have a notes page in my phone.
Yeah.
That when I think of random ways, I might be at the gym.
Yeah.
And I might go, ooh, this character needs to do this at some point.
Yeah.
And I'll write that down.
Okay.
So when that comes up, I can add that in, and it's comfortable because I've already thought of it. I'm not an outliner.
Yeah.
I don't dictate my book beforehand. I just let it come. And I joke that I have voices in my head, and whoever screams the loudest gets their book written first. I'm in the middle of a book that is a completely new series, and the 3rd book of the Dangerous Side is getting shelved.
Yeah.
Dangerous Calculations and Disaster in Love, they competed for each other. Yeah. Whoever was for a while, I was writing them simultaneously, which was weird because they're 2 different genres. And I went, I can't write. I can't write 2 books at once.
Yeah.
No, that's just weird. And then I thought, no, they're 2 different genres. It's okay. And so what I would do is I would get my word count for one, and then take a little half-hour break or whatever, get a snack, and come back, change out, Now I'm not being dark. Now I'm being funny, and I can kind of regroup.
Oh, okay. So you were
So it's a
like
bit of a
kind of
release.
balancing it out a
Yeah,
little bit.
and it worked.
So when did you make the decision? So like with Dangerous After Dark, and you had it all written out, and you're like, okay, well, I need to get this out to the world. Like I want people to see it. So what did you do? Did you just like put it online? Like I don't even know how that works.
Google's my friend.
Okay.
And
so you Googled
so I
how
started.
to publish
and
a
so
book.
I am the epitome of if I can't figure it out,
Yeah.
then it can't be done.
Okay.
Because I will
You're
sit
not
there.
taking no for an answer.
No. So I sit there and I will backtrack all of the individual details. I will go and find a guru of somebody who knows something that can inform me of where to go from here. So I Google and I'm like, how do I get my book on Amazon?
Yeah.
Let's start there. Amazon's the world, right?
Yeah,
it's
right.
the Walmart of the internet. And so
Wait, it is? No, I'm just
Oh
kidding.
my goodness, I can't believe that. Look, I taught you something. No. So Amazon is very forthcoming with information.
Okay.
And so there's a website called KDP,
Yeah.
and it's Kindle Direct Publishing.
Okay.
And so that pops up as soon as you say, how do I publish a book on Amazon? Pops up, you look at it, and it just walks you through the steps. It's fantastic. It's not hard.
Okay.
The hardest part, honestly, is converting your book into a format that they will actually upload and it look right.
Oh,
Because
okay.
if you read an ebook,
Yeah.
and as most people have, you have seen the correct format, and then you found that random obscure book that doesn't have chapters. It just has chapters, but you can't find them.
Right.
And you just keep reading, and you don't really know how many pages you're reading. You just keep reading. Oh, my chapter is going to end in 5,000 pages. And so there's a correct format.
Okay.
And so that was my next Google, was figuring out all the steps to make sure that it was in the right format to upload.
Got it.
And that took a little bit of
So
time.
you just figured it out and you made it happen.
Yeah.
But when I'm sitting here looking at like some actual paperback books right now. Like
That was the hardest part.
You took it a step further. You actually like this is on paper. This could be in a library now.
I can't wait. I'll just start donating them to every library I find.
You're just like slowly like you walk into the library and then you set it on the counter and then you back away.
I did not leave this here. This is not
Where
a
did this
donation.
book come
It
from?
doesn't have a code on it. It will tomorrow.
It's not in our system. Well, we're a library. I guess we'll keep it.
Well, if I can find a sticker, we could totally put something on that. No, I had come to terms with the fact that I was not going to have paperbacks.
Yeah.
When I started writing, my brain thought 1980s publishing world. If I'm going to find a publisher
Yeah.
and publish my paperbacks, I'm going to have to purchase thousands of copies up front.
Yeah.
I said, there's no way I can sell thousands of copies myself. I'm not famous. Nobody knows me. And
Now, wait till this airs.
I know, I can't wait. Everybody's going to be hunting me down. Who is Erin Thornton?
You're not.
We must
You're
find
not
her
going
on
to believe
Facebook.
the 5 people that you get. That
My
generate-
Facebook's going to
I know.
explode with 3.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Get excited.
I'm going to jump up and down to a happy dance when I get home. No, I had come to terms with the fact it wasn't happening. And because there was no way I was going to sell that many books. I hadn't actually published the book yet.
Yeah.
It might be complete crap. And I'm Googling, I'm looking up publishers, and most of them, like promoters and publishers, they want you to start promoting 5 months before the book is published. And I said, why? This might be an awful book. I'm going to promote something that is terrible.
Yeah.
And then
It's a
people
lot
are
of
going
pressure.
to, and then there's that conversation of, oh, well, I promoted it. People read it when it finally came out and it was terrible. And now I've got all these bad reviews. No, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
So I opted out. And then a little while later, I revisited it and I said, how could I make this happen? So I did. And there's a website called Create a Space, and it's linked to Amazon. And there is, Ingram Spark is another one, but I that's a little harder to get through. Create a Space is easy. I like easy.
Yeah.
I like my easy button.
Yes, right.
And so I got on Creative Space and worked through it and figured out all of the uploading necessities, and they're print on demand. So when I need a book or you go on Amazon and you order it, it prints for you. It's not sitting on a shelf. It's not getting dusty. It's not waiting around for somebody to buy it if it happens. It's printed for you.
Wow.
And it's fantastic. And then when they get it, it looks
Brand
like
freaking new.
every book on the bookshelves at Barnes & Noble.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So give me your, we said romance, romantic suspense.
For the Dangerous series, yeah.
Yes, for the Dangerous series. Can you give like your little elevator pitch about what it's about, in case someone wants to find it and read it? I mean,
Sure.
I feel like I want to make sure people understand, what we're talking about here or about your book, but I feel like I want to know more. What is so suspenseful and romantic? Like, tell me about this.
So Dangerous After Dark, my debut novel, is about a girl named Grace who was sexually assaulted in school. And it destroyed her life. She had no idea where to go from there. Everything had been taken away from her. So fast forward 5 years, and she is trying to figure out what normal is.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes every day to work. She walks. She doesn't drive. She tries to keep her surroundings in her peripheral vision. She has mace with her all the time. She's not a comfortable person.
Ah.
And in walks Detective Patrick, who loves a good cold case.
Oh.
And he digs a little deeper and finds out that her case may not be what everybody thought it was. Everybody kind of chalked it up to drunk girl, whatever. And he finds out that she probably shouldn't be living. And so they dig a little deeper, and they realize that when he meets her that she's got a stalker.
Oh.
And so she has to make a decision, figuring out whether or not what decisions she can make, if she wants to protect herself or her friends and who she's going to keep safe.
Suspenseful.
Yes, it will have you on the edge of your seat. I
like it. That's great. One thing that, I know there's like a lot of crazy stuff that's happening right now in the world of romance and Amazon and government and all these things. Are you at all being affected by, I read an article that said, Amazon was pulling romance titles, or they were pulling rankings because of what's the bill called?
It's the FOSTA bill.
The FOSTA bill.
FOSTA, FOSTA.
Okay, my understanding is that it was about sex trade, right? But it's very broad ranging, so that websites were pulling down stuff that could be considered sexual. Am I on the right track?
That's basically what it is. So mostly what Amazon is doing is they're covering their butt.
Okay.
And saving the possibility of them getting held liable for anything.
Okay.
So
because of the way something's written,
yeah,
right?
They amended
right?
a previous bill that had protected the third parties.
Okay.
They're no longer protected. So if somebody were to sell something on your website, no matter what it is, you would have been protected against whatever implications that would have been.
Got it.
Well, now that's been taken away. So they have given them this tiny little gray area where that if they can purge it or clean it up in any way before they get monitored, then they're not going to be held responsible.
Ah.
Well, Amazon, unfortunately, is attacking the romance genre.
Oh.
Which doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Just because of the way it's written, just because it has sex, basically.
Yeah.
That's why.
The possibility of sex or erotica or assault or BDSM.
Okay.
50 Shades of Grey.
Okay.
Everybody knows that one.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
It became the open door
right.
to allow authors to voice their opinions, their ideas, the fantasy world. Just open that fantasy world up. Well, they're attacking everybody.
Really?
But 50 Shades of Grey, they made a movie about that. It became
they made
okay.
3 movies about that.
No joke. There were 3 books. And so there's this umbrella of okay, but Amazon's not letting anybody slide. I went in and checked that page, and they have changed their categories, their category listings. It's now a romance book and a holiday book.
Oh.
You have to. So myself, you asked if I'd been affected. My book, Dangerous After Dark, got pulled for 24 hours.
Wow.
Just to check it. But that 24 hours freaked me out. I said, it's not going to come back. What am I going to do? My husband thought I was overreacting.
Yeah.
But I'd already seen what had happened to so many books. They're stripping their rankings. They're making them unfindable, unsearchable. They're red listing them so you can't even find them unless you know the title. It's insane. Just because they don't want people to happen upon them. because they might be slightly erotic or have a taboo subject.
And see, that's the part that confuses me, though, because it sounds like if my understanding and reading is correct, and once again, I'm not like an expert on any of this, the bill was to try to prevent sex trafficking online.
Yeah, online.
Right. But basically, because of the way it's written, if someone else is selling a book that has of the sexual nature or whatever, that could still be considered under the law.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's why the rankings and everything's going FUBAR.
Yep.
So you're right. Amazon's protecting themselves because they don't want to be sued or whatever, against the law because someone has a description of their romance novel out there.
Right, exactly. And they could completely lose everything.
Yeah.
Over a book.
So it's a really weird gray area.
It is. And so instead of potentially fighting that gray area and the freedom of speech and all that, it's not even about freedom of speech at this point.
Yeah.
It's that gray area. It's that possibility that Amazon could be held responsible and lose everything.
So I know Craigslist took a bunch of stuff down. I know Reddit took a bunch of stuff down. Your book went back up.
It did.
So it's okay.
It was okay.
Have you heard from anyone that like their book didn't get back up?
There have been, I've got 2 or 3 author contacts that their erotica books have been blacklisted.
Oh.
And there are so many different levels of Amazon hell.
Well, it's like who's going to make the decision? Like, you know what? This erotica book says this word 5 times, and this one says it once. So you know what? We're going to take the one down that said it 5 times.
I honestly don't even think they're going in and looking at the book text or content. They're looking at Amazon keywords.
Okay.
They're looking at Amazon categories. So what they're doing is they're pulling it down.
Yeah.
And they're going into the back side of the screen that you can't see as a reader.
Right.
The part that makes the search engine work.
Okay, gotcha.
The part that
your keywords and things like that.
Yes, exactly. And so if it says erotica, if it says BDSM, if it says all disclosure, my Dangerous After Dark had a keyword of rape sex.
Okay.
And it's not my absolute favorite category. It's not my absolute favorite keyword, but I ranked between 1 and 4 on that category all the time.
Yeah.
And I scrambled to get that down, and something about stalkers.
Okay.
I can't remember what the other keyword was. It was something about stalkers. And I was like, oh no. So I scrambled to get those pulled off.
Yeah.
But they still pulled it down to check it.
Weird.
After the fact. I think because it had popped up at one point in time or another, they had run a search prior to me doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
See, that's the thing that ticks me off, because it's just like, come on, let people read what they want to read and do stuff like that. But also it hurts, authors who self-publish and things like that. Authors that do
We're
things.
indies.
So
We don't have anybody else
So
to
you're
back
probably
us.
a little worried about maybe your next book, or hopefully it'll, I mean, are you worried? Like the next time your third Dangerous series book, are you scared?
I'm nervous.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what blocks they're going to put on in the future.
Gotcha.
To prevent it so they don't have to go in and do this mass search. Because they're going to have to do something. If they're going to blacklist authors for putting them up, they can't constantly go back and do these mass searches.
Yeah.
There's going to have to be some kind of a firewall, blockade, something that won't let us do it.
Are there any other genres that are being affected by this?
No.
Just romance.
Just romance. That's it.
Weird.
And somebody said to me, they said, well, if they're going in and pulling all this down, why aren't they pulling the porn sites down?
Yeah.
And I said,
I don't know.
because the porn sites aren't being as proactive as Amazon. I don't know. They think it's going to blow over.
Because my senator loves it? I don't know.
That's why they said it. Everybody who brought it up, they were like, we don't know what you're talking about. The FOSTA bill? What is that?
Yeah.
And I said, no one knows, because it's only affecting romance novels right now. And I said, but if somebody were to pull down your favorite porn site, that would be blasted across the internet and everything else, because the porn sites would be being pulled down.
Yeah.
But romance novels, who cares? We don't care about romance novels.
No, it's romance. What are you talking
Nobody
about?
wants to read Fabio's book.
Yeah, right? That Fabio on the cover. My grandmother used to read romance novels, which it always freaked me out because, like, you know, like I would see like these weird kind of like, you know, because they're so like small, but like super small text, but, you know, like, and so you'd see like a stack of them and I'd be like, I'm gonna leave now. Goodbye.
I'm not going to raid Grandma's bookshelf
that's the
anymore.
Harlequin stuff. That's the
right,
yeah.
right. That's stuff that everybody that's the first thing everybody thinks of when you say romance.
When I think romance, that is where my brain first goes to. It goes to that, and it goes to, okay, this is a really silly story about me. So when I was younger, oh man, okay, all right, let's say high school aged or whatever, and I would go hang out with friends and, you know, girls, and you're trying to impress girls and things like that. And so we would go see movies and stuff, and then we go to the Barnes & Noble, you know, and you go to the Barnes & Noble and you'd walk around the books, you're just hanging out and everything. Well, I would always beeline it to the romance section. And the reason I would is because I would pull the romance book out and I'd be standing next to the girl that, you know, I kind of like or whatever. Right. And I'd be like, oh, you know, just like, look at her. And then I'd start like just kind of flipping the pages. I'd say, tell me when to stop. And then I would hope that I would land on like a sexy part.
Steamy part.
Yes. And then I'd like start reading like, Rose slowly made her way down the stairs. And like just trying to think, oh, I'm so suave and so cool. Like, is she getting the picture? Is she? And, that never worked.
I can't imagine why.
I don't know why.
That seems strange.
It's really upset.
I'm really sorry that happened.
And with that being said, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back here with Erin Thornton on the Kansas City Podcast. Heidi ho, neighborette. It's Cole here from the Kansas City Podcast. Hope you're enjoying today's very enlightening episode on writing and romance novels with Erin Thornton. Please stick around for the second half of the show. We have a fun new game in the world's loudest Starbucks I've ever been in my life. I don't know. Sometimes when you're going out and you're recording episodes and you're meeting people in different places, you never know what to expect. So thank you for listening. Thank you for enjoying the episode. Thank you to everyone who joined us after last week's episode with Qasim Hardaway. Really appreciate it. Got a bunch of new likes on Instagram, you know, which I expected, because Qasim's like an Instagram fiend. So give us a like, give us a review. Thank you so much for listening. And now let's talk some more romance. Back to the show. Welcome back to the Kansas City Podcast. Cole Limberg here with Erin Thornton here at the loudest Starbucks in the entire world.
Well, you know, if we're going to pick a good one, we have to pick the loudest one so everybody knows where we are.
We have to pick the one where we're right next to the blender. You know, I was, during the break, I was skimming through your book, and I definitely want to read it now. I did not come across any steamy parts as I was reading through, so, you know, I know they're probably in there, but I didn't hit it yet.
One thing that I've done with the Danger series, because it is more suspenseful and dark, is their closed door romance scenes.
Oh,
so
really?
We lead up to, and then we go black.
Well, so there's no payoff, is what you're saying. It's like, it's a
You just don't actually read it. You just don't actually read it. It
you
happens.
Don't actually read it. Okay.
You just don't actually, it happens, but you don't read it.
Okay, that's because sometimes some of those
that's why
books
it's called
get
closed
very...
door. They go behind the door, they close it, we can't go in.
Okay.
But we know it's happening.
We know what's happening. Okay.
The bed's banging against the wall. Yeah, it's terrible.
It's frightening.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, I've got would you want to play a game?
I love to play a game.
I've got a game here because I'm always infatuated. Is that the word I'm looking for?
You have to finish the sentence, or I can't help you.
I'm always blown away by the amount of romance subgenres, because there's so many subgenres of romance.
There really is.
So, if we can play a game today, it's called True Romance.
Okay.
Is this a true romance? Here's what I'm going to do. So we're going to play True Romance. I'm going to give you the name of a romance novel, okay?
Okay.
And you tell me if it's real or not, right? So I'm going to give you the name of the novel and the subgenre of romance.
If it's actually a book?
If it's actually a book.
Okay,
So some of these are real, some of these I have made up. Okay, here we go. Are you ready?
Yep.
The first one, this is from the mermaid romance subgenre,
Ooh,
which
it's
called Forgive My Fins.
I feel like that one's not real.
Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer.
It is real.
Oh my goodness.
It's a book by Tara Lynn Childs, and it's called Forgive My Fins, about a mermaid romance.
Well, I guess, if does she always have the fins, I wonder? Or if she gets
I
on
have no
land, is
idea.
it not there?
I didn't even know mermaid subgenre romance existed until about an hour ago.
There is. The mermaids and sirens. Oh, it's a big genre.
All right, so here we go. This is the next one. This one is a crossover between... There's a Viking romance subgenre and a vampire romance subgenre.
Yes.
This one's called Fangs of the Viking.
I feel like that one's not real either.
That one is fake.
Okay.
That one is fake.
I was like, I feel like we couldn't really go.
I made that one up, but
vampires are old though, so it is possible they could have had them.
I feel like I could write that novel.
You could.
Fangs of the Viking.
You would own it.
Thor steps down from his mighty steed as Esmeralda flashes her fangs.
And infects him with the vampire disease.
All right, here's your next one. This is from the genre of interspecies hybrid.
Okay.
Okay, this one is called Chasing Tail.
That one's real.
That one is real. Yes, yes.
Yep.
That is a novel by Celia Kyle. Okay. This is one of my favorite ones. These are the ones that always blows my mind that this exists. This is from the world of dinosaur erotica. And it's called Tantalizing the Triceratops.
Is it another Triceratops?
Is it what?
Is it another Triceratops?
I have no idea. It's called Tantalizing the Triceratops. Is that real or fake?
I feel like that's fake.
Okay, that one is fake. But dinosaur erotica is real.
Yes, it is.
That one blows my mind. Like I think the one I saw was called like Taken by the T-Rex.
I wonder if it's a shifter book.
I don't know.
I feel like it would have to be a shifter book.
It's scary.
That would be terrifying.
Next one. This is from the world of Centaur romance.
Okay.
Centaur. This one's called A Centaur's Solstice Wish.
I feel like that's real.
That is real. Yes,
Yes.
by Siobhan Muir.
Oh.
Do you have did you ever think about putting like a fake name?
I did, actually. Not on my first three, but on my fourth one that's coming out, it was actually a concern. It's a new genre for me, another subgenre of reverse harem.
Okay.
And it's exactly what it sounds like. If you don't know what it is, Google it.
Yeah.
But the genre is slightly taboo,
Okay.
and I was worried I'd lose readers.
Oh, so you were thinking about putting
I was thinking about putting it under a pen name, but then on the same token, I thought, if I put it under a pen name, they're not going to find anything else by me.
Is there like a formula to like figure out like your weird pen name, like when they do like your porn star name or your
So there's a lot of different name generators out there.
Yeah.
And I use them for some of my characters.
Okay.
But yeah, there's either that or you use initials and then your last name changes to something around you.
Okay.
Some people have gotten
So you'd be like E.T. something.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Alien phone home.
Okay. Yes, that is correct. So I'd be like C.L. Williams or something like that.
Yeah, you pick something. And I've had people go, okay, I'm going to sit here and the item to my left is going to be IMET table.
Yes, there you go. Perfect. All right, you ready for your next one?
Go ahead.
This is from the mail order bride genre.
Oh, yes,
It's
yes,
called
very big one.
The Navy SEALs Email Order Bride.
I feel like she'd be quite flat.
I don't know.
Or transparent.
Is that real or not?
I feel like it's not.
That is real.
Oh my goodness.
That is real. It's called The Navy SEALs Email Order Bride. It's by Cora Seaton. All right, we got two left.
Okay.
Okay. Another genre here. Plumber.
That is a big, big, big genre.
This one is called Clearing the Pipes.
It could be real. Yeah, we're gonna go with it's real.
Actually,
that one
I made
could
that
be.
one up.
That one could work.
That could totally work.
That would sell.
That could work. All right, your last one. You ready? I had no idea this subgenre existed. It is from the knitting subgenre. Did you know this? There's
this one I didn't know. No.
Okay, there's knitting romance novels. This one is called Knitting Under the Influence.
So I crochet, and my brain automatically on knitting romance goes to grandma. I'm sorry, it does. No, I don't think that's real.
That is 100% real.
Oh my goodness
Yes.
gracious.
It's by Claire Lazebnik. It's
Wow.
the knitting romance subgenre.
Wow. Yeah, I crochet and people.
Is there any weird other ones that I'm missing? Like, these are the ones I kind of came across. Is there any others? Like, these are the weird ones. Let's face it. Like, you get the
strange.
dinosaur and the mermaid and the knitting and the Viking and stuff. But, I mean, are there some other... I saw a NASCAR one. There was
That's
like
funny,
a NASCAR subgenre.
Yeah, they do. They have a lot of different sports ones. There's a lot of sports subgenres. I'm not a huge... Like, we watch sports in our house, but I don't think I could write one.
Yeah.
I don't think I could write a sports romance, but they're huge right now. And I don't know if it's because every girl loves a big biffy athlete or what, but yeah, they make great covers.
Yeah.
No paranormal romance. That's huge.
Yeah, I saw that one. Alien romance. I saw that one.
And the alien ones are, in my opinion, where they get kind of out there.
Yeah.
The sci-fi version of that. The sci-fi romance is big right now.
Yeah. That makes sense. Star
Trek, Star Wars. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It makes sense, but my brain still goes,
well, Erin,
okay.
thank you so much for playing Bad Romance.
You know what? Apparently, you come up with some decent romance because you got me on a couple.
No, I just call it, I gave it the wrong name. Not Bad Romance. True Romance.
True Romance. Well,
True
by
romance
the end of it changes, right?
With a question mark.
Question mark.
True Romance? Is this a true romance? All right, so is it true that there's like a certain template to how a romance novel works? Is that correct?
There is.
Okay.
I don't follow it.
You don't follow it.
Because in all reality, I didn't know it existed until after my first two came out.
Okay.
And I just fairly recently found out there was an actual template, and I went, really?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, that's why I thought that like there were so many books out there that were romance because like because
you can follow a guide.
Follow the template and you follow a guide. Like, oh, you got to have the guy, you got to have the girl, you got to have this or that, and they do this. You got to have the dinosaur, you got to have the other dinosaur. That you got to have the man, you got to have the mermaid.
Disaster in Love
you know,
couldn't follow a guide
because it's suspense.
No, Disaster in Love's a romantic comedy.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm getting confused.
No,
yes.
you're fine. And Disaster in Love is dating hell.
Oh, okay.
And it's about every horrific date you could possibly think of.
All right.
And I tell everybody that a lot of they're all true stories.
Oh.
Some of them are mine.
A little bit of truth in there.
I'm a write what you know writer.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
And so there is an element.
That's a great tip. That was always in my writing classes in college, right?
It's huge. It's huge. People ask me all the time, how do you know what to write? How do you get started?
Yeah.
Pick something you know a lot about.
Yeah.
I was my oldest is 14, and so I was a single mom before I met my husband, and so I have a dating history like, oh my gosh! I tell everybody, I have the dates. My dates were from Hades and then some.
Yeah.
And so this book is
Did
some
you
of
ever
mine.
go to Barnes and Noble and have people read your romance novel quips?
I've been at Barnes and Noble for a date.
Yeah.
But I didn't go and read like romance novels. But I remember going in and. We went to the cookbook aisle. I don't know why. We went to the cookbook aisle on that date, and I was like, "What? Why are we here?" But okay, this is a thing.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll do this. And we hung out, and it was a terrible date, and we moved on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I tell people that I won't tell anybody which dates are mine.
Ah, okay.
But know that
Have people tried to guess?
Oh yes, it's actually really entertaining.
Yeah.
So ironically, one of my exes has read it.
Oh.
Which makes that so funny for me.
Oh, because he knows exactly.
He knows exactly which one's him.
Okay.
He hates me. No. No, he's mad because he didn't get a bigger role.
Oh, okay.
I said, really?
You changed his name, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, what's my name? I go, maybe you should find it. This will be more exciting for me. And so, like a day or two later, he's like, why is my role so small?
No.
And I went, well, we're not married.
It's obvious why the role is so small.
What would you like me to do with that? There's not much depth there.
Are you saying that you want your role to be bigger? Because I'm sorry, that's not happening.
Totally taken now. My bad.
So, Disaster in Love.
Yes.
It's a romantic comedy. Lots of different dating stories. Is it multiple different characters in dating stories, or is it just like one main character?
Sam is the lead, and her mother has decided she wants grandchildren.
Okay.
She says, you need to settle down. I'm tired of this. She's in her late 20s, you know?
Yeah.
You need to settle down. You need to
Yeah.
stop being such a free spirit. And so she's like, you know what? Okay, my mom's taking care of me. I get it. I will try.
Yes.
So she actively starts dating regularly. She goes on, she's a flight attendant, so she's gone for a period of time and home for a period of time.
Got it.
So she gets 3 or 4 days off.
Up in the air, baby.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely. She ends up meeting a guy on the airplane too. That was
Oh.
great. There's a Frenchman.
Oh.
He's hilarious. No, but yeah, she goes on numerous dates, and unfortunately, she can't catch a break.
Yeah.
They're awful. They range from Elvis impersonators, dirty Frenchmen,
Yeah.
and even a guy who
Elvis impersonator. That's a good romance subgenre.
Oh, my
That-
goodness.
A hunk of burning love.
I feel like that would drive me batty.
That would be, man, that'd be good.
And would you read the character in Elvis's accent and tone? Like, would you hear it in your head
Oh, sugar. Oh.
all the time?
I mean, I'd have to, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
man.
Do you prefer to read a book that has a character with an accent in the accent or in regular text?
So I'm kind of
Look at me
indifferent
flipping
to
the
that because
questions
when
on you.
I've written stuff in the past, when somebody has like a certain accent, I've written it how they would speak it.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know, if they're gonna say ain't nothing, you know, ain't nothing, you know,
Right,
like I've written it
exactly.
out that way. And I think I enjoy that more because I think it gives an idea, like it really like it puts me more in their mind.
It forces
you know?
that accent in your mind.
Yes.
So rather than just reading it and knowing it's an accent,
Right.
Because I feel like when it's not written, I don't read it that way in my brain.
Yeah.
I go, yeah, they're Southern, but it's not written Southern, so
Yes,
I don't
right,
read
right,
it that
right,
way.
right.
So I asked that question because my Frenchman is written with
okay.
a French accent
Okay.
because it's important.
Uh-huh.
He says things, terms of endearment,
Yeah.
that are not terms
Yeah,
of
not
endearment.
Yes.
They are in French. Like, it's a thing. I actually, I did a little bit of research and figured out that the terms of endearment in French are weird.
Oh. Okay.
Like, you know, we have our phrases, and of course I can't think of any right now, that are just, people would look at us and go, why did you just call your significant other
yeah.
poo face? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, just
Honey buns or-
our weird names.
Yeah,
our
yeah,
weird
yeah,
names. And there is,
Disaster Queen.
right, apparently,
Just kidding.
we, in just like in English, French have some very strange terms of endearment.
Yes.
And
Mademoiselle
accent makes-
Baguette.
his accent makes that challenging.
Yes.
And so when she realizes what he actually called her,
Yeah.
yeah, she's done.
Gotcha. So, what is the future for you? What happens next? You've got 3 books. You're working on another one. You're working on multiple other ones.
Well,
I assume,
you
so-
originally asked that when I started writing. So the first
Yeah.
book came out in June. Second book of that series came out in November.
Okay.
And Disaster in Love came out in January. So I write pretty quickly.
Wow.
I've got a new series coming out, the Gateway Saga. It's a reverse harem.
Okay.
That one's coming out before the end of May.
Okay.
And the last book of the Dangerous series will come out early summer.
Wow.
So I have a list.
You have a long. Now, do you ever see that the possibility of getting out of the romance genre? Do you think like that's kind of like, you know, write what you know, obviously, but like,
Right.
do you feel like you ever might get to that point where you're like, romance, I need to try something else. I need to like broaden my horizons.
I've got notes on a prison book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So a friend of mine came up with this really great idea and said, "You're a writer. You should write this."
Okay.
And it's a bit of a sci-fi mix to that a little bit. And I said, I had to figure out how that fits with me.
Yeah.
Because, I do. I told you, I take notes all the time.
Yeah.
And so there's notes. I've got things written down. That one doesn't fit in the romance genre. I can't figure out how to make it fit in the romance genre.
Right.
And so I've toyed with that a little bit. And so, yeah, there's because even though my books are romance as an umbrella, but because I'm a multi-genre author in that aspect, they're
Yeah.
under the same umbrella, but they're multi-genre. So I've opened a door for me to be able
Gotcha.
to write other things. I just have to find the right avenue and maybe become more established so that people, when they're looking for me, they're
Yeah.
not just going, oh, well, she's a romance novel. novelist.
If you ever need to bounce ideas off someone, I'm always here for you. If you ever feel like making that trek into vampire Viking romance or dinosaur erotica,
I still
I'm
think
more
you
than
could
happy to
totally
help
rock
you.
the vampire Viking on your own.
Either that or the dinosaur one. I just think that would be
Right.
hilarious.
But I feel like still the dinosaur one would have to be a shifter
I
book.
think that's what I'm worried about. Like, if I'm going to start doing this, and like, let's say I wrote a romance novel, it's going to be like really corny.
Okay, so I laugh. I can always tell when I start reading a romance novel if it's been written by a guy.
Oh, okay.
There's just certain...
Even when it's got the other name on it.
Right,
Like if
you just know. And they might change their name and have a pen name, but it's still technically... There's just verbiage. The flow is different.
Okay.
And they're very analytical.
Oh, okay.
And so I was reading one. I couldn't do
She
it.
sat down on the couch.
Yeah, it's just very,
Yeah,
it's very, it's not so much that it's over
Or
described.
it's not like she
but
sat
it's
down
not-
on the couch, or she slowly shimmied to the couch. You know, what I mean?
And any of the romance scenes
Yeah.
are overdone.
Okay.
And it's not in a way that you're like
I
thinking it's
believe
horrible
that.
porn.
I believe that.
It's not even horrible porn. It's just written in a way that you just go, no woman could possibly write this. That's just impossible. But I've got a really great friend of mine who is a reverse harem and romance author as well. She got both. She co-authors with a guy.
Oh.
And I ask her all the time, I'm like, how do you do this?
Yeah.
Do you like go back and read all of his stuff and go, nope, that's not going to work. We have to redo this because you just obviously can't visualize this.
Yeah.
I know you've been there, but you can't visualize
in your
this.
mind,
And you
it's not
can't
there.
and being able to describe it in a way that a woman then turns and sees it. So when you find a male author that can actually write romance novels,
It's an anomaly.
exactly.
Yeah.
And you just go, wow.
Yeah.
Who are you? And can I just be your best friend forever? Because you obviously get it. And your wife or significant other is very well taken care of. And if you don't have one yet, why?
Yeah. I'll think about it. See what I can do. We are nearing the end of our time today. Thank you so much for being on the show. Your time to shine now. Tell people where they can find you, where they can find your novels. Give them the 411 on you. Go
Absolutely.
For it. Words
So,
of wisdom, all of you right now.
All of my series are on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited. So any Kindle Unlimited readers, you can read my book for free with your membership. Yay! We love free books.
Good.
You can find me on Facebook under Erin Thornton Author. And I have a website, erinthorntonauthor.com. Easy as pie.
Wonderful. And remember, folks, you can always find me on Twitter at Cole Lindbergh. Make sure to check out our website, thekansacitypodcast.com, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Kansas City Pod. Erin, thank you again for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
I've learned a lot about romance novels. I've learned a lot about the government. I've learned about different weird subgenres of romance. I'm going to go to the grocery store now and I'm going to buy myself a novel. And I'm just going to go home and just...
love that I educated you today.
Yes, I really appreciate it. Thank you again for being on the show.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
We will see everyone next week here on the Kansas City Podcast.